had a tremendous season, 8-2, and tying Purdue and Indiana for the championship. Here against Utah, quarterback Larry Carlson passes complete to Charlie Sanders. It's good for 8 yards. Minnesota has a 3rd and 17 situation on their own 29 when Larry Carlson passes complete to Hubie Bryant. Good for 16 yards. There's flanker back, battling to keep possession of the ball. 1st and 10 on the Utah 22 now. Larry Carlson scrambles to the left. Looks for a receiver, throws complete to Charlie Sanders on a down and out. Sanders takes the ball and is good for 6 yards. 1st and 10 on the Utah 11 now. Carlson once again to the left, jumps up in the air and finds Hubie Bryant in the end zone. It's a touchdown. And Minnesota's out in front, 7-0. And of course his teammates are going wild. Utah has the ball on the Minnesota 8-yard line. 1st down and goal to go. Halfback Charlie Smith takes a pitch out and races around left end and battles for 5 yards. Now it's 4th down, goal to goal on the Minnesota 3-yard line. Quarterback Tim Collins rolls to his right, sees a little bit of daylight and battles into the end zone, and it's 7-6. Utah tried for the extra point. A bad pass from center was fumbled, tried to run the ball and failed. Utah has the ball 1st down, goal to goal on the Minnesota 6-yard line. Tim Collins is hit by Bob Stein, the fine defensive end. He fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by cornerback Dennis Hale. Minnesota now has a 3rd down, 8 situation on their own 14-yard line. Phil Hagan is in there, throws to Kurt Wilson, and Kurt battles for 7 yards. It's 1st and 5 now on the Minnesota 30-yard line. Phil Hagan from Eau Claire passes to Chip Litton, who makes a beautiful diving catch as he falls out of bounds. 5 yards. 3rd down and 10 on the Minnesota 35. Phil Hagan fades and passes to Charlie Sanders, a tight end over the middle. Good for 31 yards. Now Minnesota has the ball, 3rd down and 6 on the Utah 30. Phil Hagan, not a bad runner, turns the right side and battles for 7. 3rd down and 15 on the Utah 28 now. Phil Hagan looks, finds a receiver finally, and it's Chip Litton. And he makes a beautiful catch. And he takes the ball away from the street of Utah for the winning touchdown. And of course, his teammates go wild, almost a little bit too wild, as they're so happy with this, their first win of the 1967 season. And the scoreboard reads Minnesota 13, Utah 12. Second game of the season, Minnesota went to Lincoln to play Nebraska. In the 1st quarter, Kurt Wilson ran over right tackle for the Gophers for 7 yards against the Cornhuskers. In the 2nd period, Minnesota 1st and 10 on their own 20. And it was Wilson once again, this time off right tackle, good for 10 yards before he was spilled. 3rd down and 10 on the Minnesota 30 now for the Gophers. Ray Stevens in there at quarterback. Ray looks for a receiver, finds Chip Litton out on the left side. Chip makes a very fine reception, throws off one tackler, and then continues on for 37 yards in all. Now Minnesota has the ball, 3rd down and 24 on the Nebraska 47-yard line. Stevens once again fades the pass. Looks for Mike Curtis, and it's complete for 21 yards as Mike does a bit of fancy footwork before being nailed to the ground. Minnesota, 4th down and 3 on the Nebraska 16. Bob Stein tries a long field goal. It's long enough, but wide. In the 3rd period, Nebraska has a 1st and 10 situation on Minnesota's 25. Joe Orduna finds sophomore, takes the ball off tackle. And with 4 minutes and 45 seconds left in the 3rd period, he races into the end zone. The extra point is good, and Nebraska leads 7-0. In the 4th quarter, Nebraska has the ball, 4th down and 2 on Minnesota's 8-yard line. Dick Davis takes a handoff but fumbled, and John Darkenwald recovers for the Golden Gophers. Now it's Minnesota 1st and 10 on their own 8-yard line. Ray Stevens fades to pass, has good protection, throws to Mike Curtis, and it's good for 15 yards. Another first down, 10 on the Minnesota 24. Ray Stevens once again looks for a receiver, finds Chip Litton out on the left flat, and it's good for 10 yards before the Fargo native is down. That's how the game ended. Nebraska 7, Minnesota nothing. Game of the season was SMU and Minnesota at Memorial Stadium. Quarterback Eddie Valdez of the Mustangs fades to pass. Deep in his own territory is knocked off his feet by defensive end Bob Stein, and it's a safety for the Golden Gophers. Minnesota out in front, 2-0. We move now to the third quarter. SMU has the ball, 2nd and 6 on their own 41. Valdez is hit by McKinley Boston. He fumbles, and it's recovered by the Gophers' Del Jessen on the SMU 36. So the Gophers take over 1st and 10 on SMU's 36-yard line. Phil Hagan is the quarterback. He fades to pass. He looks for Charlie Sanders, finds the big tight end, and it's good for 7 yards. 2nd and 3 from the SMU 29. Jim Carter behind good blocking. Blasts off tackle for 4. Minnesota breaks the huddle. They come out with a 1st and 10 situation on the SMU 25. Bill Hagan rolls to his right, gets good protection from John Williams. Throws to Charlie Sanders for 21 before he's knocked out of bounds. It's 1st and goal to goal on the SMU 4. Jim Carter takes a handoff from Hagan, gets good blocking, and fights for 3 yards. Minnesota goes back to the huddle. They come out with a 2nd and goal to goal on the SMU 1. And it's Carter again at right tackle, this time all the way into the end zone. Minnesota leads 9-0. In the fourth quarter, SMU has the ball, 3rd down and 4 on the Minnesota 19. Levias races around right end for 9 yards. Tiny scat back of the Mustangs. SMU, 4th and 11 on the Minnesota 11. Partee kicks a field goal, and it's good for 28 yards. Scoreboard red, Minnesota 9, SMU 3. Minnesota has a 4th down and 6 to go on the SMU 40. Baldridge kicks the ball. It's fumbled on a fair catch, and Enderle recovers on the SMU 28. Now it's 1st and 10 on the SMU 28-yard line. Bill Hagan sets his lineup, races around right end as he finds some daylight, turns it on, and at the last second is nailed from behind, just before he can go into the end zone. It's Minnesota 1st and goal to goal on the SMU 4-yard line. Jim Carter of South St. Paul behind fine blocking goes for 3. And now it's 2nd and goal to go on the SMU 1-yard line. Carter again at right tackle. This time he dives in for the touchdown. Minnesota leads 16-3. 1st and 10 now for Minnesota on their own 37. Kemp straight ahead for 8 yards. Hard running back from Robbinsdale. 1st and 10 now on the Minnesota 49. Hagan hands to Carter. He gets a couple of good blocks and goes for 4 off the right side. It's 3rd down and 5 now on the SMU 45-yard line. From the I formation, Kemp hits left tackle, and he plows for 10 yards. 3rd and 14 now from the SMU 39. Phil Hagan fades to pass, looks for a receiver, finds Chip Litton in the end zone. Litton makes a tremendous catch, and the Gophers have a score. Litton throws the ball sky high and is greeted by Carter and Enderle and a host of Gopher rooters. The scoreboard reads Minnesota 23, SMU 3. Minnesota opened the Big Ten season at Champaign against Illinois. In the third quarter, 2nd and 9 for Minnesota at their 27. Phil Hagan rolled to the right and threw to George Kemp for a 1st down on the Minnesota 37. It's 1st and 10 now on the 37. And Jim Carter hits outside left tackle for first down on the Illinois 39 as he does some outstanding running before being knocked out of bounds. It's a 25-yard run. From the Illinois 39-yard line, Phil Hagan looks for a receiver, finds George Kemp down the sideline. And it's good for a first down on the Illinois 22. From the 22, George Kemp hits that right guard for a first down all the way down to the Illinois 6-yard line. It's a great huddle, goal-to-goal situation on the Illinois 6. Bryan hits up the middle from the full house backfield formation. Good for 5 yards. And now from the 1-yard line, Jim Carter goes over left guard behind fine blocking once again for the touchdown. Minnesota led 7-0. Now Illinois has the ball. 3rd and goal to goal on the Minnesota 9-yard line. Dean Volkman throws to fine senior end John Wright for a touchdown, and Wright is elated. Score 7-7. In the 4th period of play, Illinois 1st and 24 on their 35. Dean Volkman fades the throw, throws a long one. It's intercepted by Mike Kondo, and he returns the ball 11 yards to the 44. 3rd down now and 7 from the Illinois 41-yard line. Phil Hagan goes into the pocket, gets good protection, throws out on the left to Kemp for a first down on the Illinois 31. The pass good for 10 yards. 1st and 10 now on the Illinois 31. Hagan rolls to his right, scrambles a bit, looks downfield, finds Mike Curtis. Curtis on a little comeback catches the ball and is down on the Illinois 19. Now from the 18-yard line, 3rd down. Hagan looks over the middle and finds Jim Carter. He bobbles the ball but finds the handle before he goes to the ground. From the Illinois 6 on 4th down, Jeff Nygren from the 13-yard line kicks a field goal. It's good. Total distance 23 yards. Minnesota was out in front 10-7. Jeff Nygren kicked off to the Illini, went down to the 25-yard line, past the neutral zone. Illinois failed to fall on the ball, but Jessen didn't for Minnesota, and Minnesota recovered. Jessen wanted to run with the ball, but it was brought back to the 25. Minnesota had the ball 3rd and 10 on the Illinois 30-yard line. Bill Hagan went back in the pocket, threw over the middle to Carter for a first down on the Illinois 15-yard line. Now from the 15, Jim Carter hits at right guard for 5, continuing to get fine blocking up front. From the Illinois 7, Jim Carter hits right tackle, and he picks up 1 to the 6. And that's where it ended. Minnesota 10, Illinois 7. The Gophers went after their second Big Ten win of the season against Michigan State at Memorial Stadium. 3rd and 9 from the Minnesota 36. Kurt Wilson throws to Bryant down the right sideline for 40 yards before Hughey goes out of bounds. Beautiful catch by the little flanker. 2nd and 10 now from the Michigan State 24. Kurt Wilson barking signals. Back in the pocket once again. A good rush is put on. He has to scramble to his left, but he finds Bryant open once again. And this time Hughey goes for 13. Ball rests now on the Spartan 31. Gophers come up to the line of scrimmage. Wilson looks around. Takes the snap from center. Into the pocket, looks for Charlie Sanders, finds the big tight end open, and it's good for 17. Ball rests now on the Michigan State 45. It's 1st and 10. Wing right for the Gophers. Carter has the ball, and he blasts up the middle for 5. From the 38, Michigan State. Wilson sneaks for 9 as he caught the Spartans napping. 3rd and 10 now on the Michigan State 29. Wilson into the pocket once again, looks to the right side. Chip Litton comes back and makes a diving, beautiful catch. Good for 9. 1st and 10 now on the Michigan State 19. Wilson back into the pocket, looks around, throws in a hurry to Chip Litton, who makes a beautiful catch before he's hauled down, and it's good for a score. Minnesota leads 7-0. In the second period of play, Dave Baldridge, the West High School native, punts the ball to Michigan State. The ball takes a bounce, hits the Michigan State player, Armstrong, and it's recovered by Hubie Bryant on the Minnesota 45. Now with the seconds ticking away before the end of the first half, Wilson fades again, looks to the left side, finds Mike Curtis open, and Curtis gains 18 yards before he goes out of bounds on the 37. 1st and 10 now for Minnesota. Wilson back once again, looks to the right side, finds Hubie Bryant, and Hubie fights for 11. And the Gophers call timeout. 3 seconds remaining before the end of the first half. Wilson back, gets good protection, looks around, and he finds Chip Litton in the end zone. Litton takes the ball, throws it up in the air, and the Gophers have a score. Chip Litton is greeted by a host of Gophers. It was 14-0 at the half. In the third period, 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 19. George Kemp hits left side for 6. On the Minnesota 25 now, 3rd down and 4. Wilson hands off once again to George Kemp of Robbinsdale, the left side for 6, and Michigan State is called for a personal foul. From the 46, George Kemp tries the right side for the Golden Gophers, and he picks up a hard 7. Now from the Michigan State 47, 2nd and 3 for the Golden Gophers. Carter blasts off the right side, and he picks up 6. 1st and 10 from the Michigan State 41. Kurt Wilson, a rollout to the left, throws against his body, and completes it to Sanders, but it's deflected, and Carter takes it before it hits the turf. Good for 8 yards. With the ball on the Michigan State 33. 2nd down and 2. Kurt Wilson lost one high in the air, and Hubie Bryant makes a diving catch and comes up elated, and the Gophers have a TD. Scoreboard reads 21-0, Minnesota out in front. In the fourth period of play, 1st and 10 for Michigan State on their own 20. Caracco goes back to pass, tosses a long one, and Dennis Hale of Jackson, Minnesota comes up with the ball. A beautiful interception by the junior. And he returns the ball on a fine open field run, 43 yards before he's finally knocked out of bounds. That's where the contest comes to a close. Minnesota winning 21-0. Looking for their 3rd straight Big Ten win, Minnesota took on Michigan at Memorial Stadium. In the first quarter, Michigan led 6-0. Kurt Wilson looked for Hubie Bryant on the sidelines, but Healy picked it off for Michigan and raced 36 yards to the Minnesota 5. So it was 3rd down for Michigan, goal to goal from the Gopher 1-yard line. When Dennis Brown, fine quarterback of Michigan, handed off to Ron Johnson, who plunged off right guard for a Michigan score. And Michigan led then 12-0. They had failed on 2 extra point attempts. In the second period, Michigan led 15-0 on a field goal. First down for Minnesota, 10 to go on their own 34. George Kemp hit right guard for 4. 3rd down now for Minnesota, 5 to go on their 39. George Kemp again, this time for 6 off the left side. 1st and 10 for Minnesota On the 45, George Kemp, the workhorse, with fine blocking up front, plows his way for 7. Second down and 10 to go for Minnesota from Michigan's 31. John Wintermute takes a handoff from Wilson, throws back to Wilson, and Kurt roars up the sidelines, throws a pretty good forearm shiver, the defensive back, and goes for 17. Third down for Minnesota, 1 to go on the Michigan 5. Wilson finds daylight to the right side and goes in to the end zone for a Gopher score. At the half, Michigan 15, Minnesota 6. In the third period of play, Minnesota has a first down. 10 to go on the 37, and Carter gains 12 off the right side. Good, hard running. Jim Carter of South St. Paul. In the fourth period of play, Minnesota has the ball. The Michigan 45, and Wilson throws a long one to Mike Curtis, and he makes a beautiful catch, falls into the end zone. And the Gophers are on the board again. The scoreboard reads Michigan 15, Minnesota 13. Minnesota second down, 8 to go on Michigan's 49. Kurt Wilson fades to pass, looks around, has excellent protection, and finds Litton open. And Chip runs for 27 before he's brought down. It's second down now for the Gophers, 7 to go on the Michigan 19. Wilson pitches back to Kemp. Kemp races around the left side for a 5. And it's a hard 5 that he gets. Second down now for Minnesota, 8 to go on the Michigan 9. Carter hits left guard for 4. And now, fourth down for Minnesota, 2 to go from the Michigan 3. Wilson at the right side for a touchdown behind fine blocking by Sanders and Williams. And Minnesota leads Michigan 20 to 15 as the game comes to a close. Great win for the Golden Gophers. Minnesota travels to Iowa City in the first quarter with a score of 0-0. Iowa has the ball. First down, 10 to go on their own 43. Mike Seelick, their quarterback, hands off to Sullivan at right tackle. He makes no gain, but he fumbles. And it's recovered by McKinley Boston for the Gophers. As the Gophers come out from the Iowa 43, first and 10, Wilson is the quarterback. He makes a fake to Mo Forte, throws back to the left to Charlie Sanders in the flat. Charlie tries a little fancy footwork there, but a very little gain after the catch. It's good for 14 yards, though. From the Iowa 29, 10 to go. George Kemp at right tackle, and it's good for 6. Second down now, 10 to go on the Iowa 17. Wilson fakes to Mo Forte, looks to the right side, finds Charlie Sanders open on the 10-yard line. Sanders blasts his way into the corner of the end zone. And when the extra point was made, Minnesota led the Hawkeyes of Iowa 7-0. We pick up play now in the third period. Second down for the Golden Gophers, 8 to go from their own 49. Bill Hagan is the quarterback now. Little fake once again to Mo Forte. Throws back to the right side to Charlie Sanders. Sanders blasts his way for 26. The ball is now at the Iowa 25. First down for Minnesota. 10 to go. Hagan hands off on the right side to Mo Forte. Mo rambles 15 yards. Mo had a tremendous afternoon against the Hawkeyes. Second down now for the Golden Gophers, 11 to go from the Iowa 11. Hagan rolls to the right, throws to George Kemp for 7 yards. George just short of the goal line. Fourth down for Minnesota on the Iowa 4. Hagan holds the ball, and Bob Stein kicks a field goal, and it's good. Minnesota led at that point 10-0. In In the fourth period of play, first down for Iowa, 10 to go from their own 23. Seelig has to scramble, runs up to the line of scrimmage, lofts a long pass, intended for Kreese, but intercepted by Captain Tommy Sako. Tommy pushes off one of his own blockers, cut to the left, then back to the right. Finds some fine blocking, but is finally stopped by the herd of Hawkeyes. First down for Minnesota, 10 to go on the Iowa 34. Mo Forte hits the right side, bounces off a couple of tacklers, and goes for 6. Now it's third down for Minnesota, 11 to go on the Iowa 35. Forte on an inside reverse, goes at left tackle, and goes for 7. 20 to go now for Minnesota, second down on the Iowa 34. Forte off the right side again. This time for 5. Now it's fourth down, 11 to go at the Iowa 25. Wilson looks excellent protection. Finds Curtis open. Mike is brought down after 15 yards. That's where the game comes to a close with Minnesota winning 10 to nothing. The Gophers travel to Purdue to take on the mighty Boilermakers. In the first quarter, third down for Purdue, 11 to go on their own 24. Mike Phipps, their young sophomore quarterback, fades to pass. It's hit hard by Ed Dern, fumbled the ball, and it was recovered by the Gophers' Ron Hamzelski on the 16. Second down for Minnesota now, 8 to go on the Purdue 14. George Kemp takes a cross buck, holds onto the ball tightly, and goes for 5 off left tackle. Fourth down for Minnesota, 8 to go on the Purdue 14. Bob Stein attempts a long 31-yard field goal, gets it up high enough, and it splits the uprights. And it's good. Minnesota led 3 to nothing. Still in the first period of play, first down for Minnesota, 10 to go on their own 39. Wilson hands off to Kemp, who runs the left side. Runs into one of his own blockers, but still stumbles for 6. On third down from the Minnesota 43-yard line, 6 to go. Kurt Wilson rolls to his left, then hands back to Hubie Bryant. Hubie Bryant pointing all the way for his blockers. Turns on the speed on this reverse down the right sideline. And outruns all would-be defensive men for Purdue, and then dives into the end zone for the Gopher score. Minnesota was out in front 10 to 7. Third quarter, first down for Minnesota, 10 to go on their own 29-yard line. Kurt Wilson goes back, gets good protection, throws back across his body to Carter for 15 yards before Jim is finally hauled down. First down now, 10 to go from the Minnesota 44. Wilson looks for somebody to throw to, has plenty of time, and throws to Charlie Sanders, the tight end, down and to the outside. 15 yards, but there was a 15-yard penalty for holding. First down now for Minnesota, 29 to go on their 25. Carter on a draw, goes 5 for the Gophers. Second down now for Purdue as we pick up play, 4 to go on the Minnesota 8. Leroy Keys, the tremendous running back, finds the hole, finds daylight, and plows to the Gopher 1. A run of 7 yards off tackle. Third down for Purdue, 1 to go on the Minnesota 1. Phipps hands to his fullback Perry Williams for the touchdown. And the score at that stage was Purdue 27, Minnesota 10. First down now for Minnesota, 10 to go on their own 35. Kurt Wilson fades to pass, flips a little one to the left side to Wintermute for 5 yards. First down now on the Purdue 46. John Wintermute takes a handoff from Wilson, looks back to Wilson, but finds the quarterback covered and decides to run up the right side. And he runs very well for 9. On third down and 9 from the Purdue 33. Kurt Wilson hands off to John Wintermute. John Wintermute looks downfield for Mike Curtis. Throws a long pass that way, but Corby intercepts, goes into the end zone for a safety. Purdue 27, Minnesota 12. In the fourth period of play, second down for Minnesota, 10 to go. Hagan throws to Sanders on the right sidelines for 14 yards before he's knocked out of bounds. First down now for Minnesota, 10 to go on the Minnesota 34. Hagan looks to the left side. Throws out to John Wintermute, and it's good for 8 before John is knocked out of bounds. Third down for Minnesota now. 2 to go on the Minnesota 42. Hagan on a roll out to the right. Finds Mo Forte open. Mo grabs the ball for 11 yards. First down now for Minnesota. 10 to go on the Purdue 47. Hagan on the rollout. Throws to Wintermute for 7. Second down for the Golden Gophers. 3 to go on the Purdue 40. Hagan rolls out, pitches back to Hubie Bryant. Hubie has to go deep to avoid a tackler. Gets a fine block from John Williams. Runs around the end for 5 yards. Second down now for Minnesota. 5 to go on the Purdue 30. Hagan on a rollout again. Looking for a receiver. Finds Wintermute open for 7. The game comes to a close. Purdue 41, Minnesota 12. Indiana, the Cinderella team of the Big Ten, comes to Memorial Stadium. In the first quarter, first down for Minnesota. Wilson fades the pass. Before he's hit, he throws to Charlie Sanders, who fights his way for 9. Still in the first period of play, second down for Minnesota, 1 to go on the Indiana 31. John Wintermute hits that left tackle and fights his way for 5. John gets quite a workout as he hits the left side again for 4. From the Indiana 19, fourth down for Minnesota, 3 to go. Wilson again to John Wintermute, off tackle, and he picks up a rugged 5. And a first down. Now it's second down for Minnesota, 10 to go on the Indiana 14. Wintermute at left guard for 5. Second period, fourth down for Minnesota, 2 to go. Wilson skirts the right side, goes into the end zone, untouched. Gophers have a tally. Minnesota 7, Indiana nothing. In the third period of play, fourth down for Indiana, 15 to go on the Minnesota 29. Harry Gonzo looks for a receiver, actually directs his receivers, finally throws to Jade Butcher for 22. Down now for Indiana, goal to goal on the Minnesota 1. Harry Gonzo, their fine sophomore quarterback, rolls to the right, gets hit by Wayne King, but fights his way into the end zone for a score. Indiana is on the board, and they make the extra point, and it's 7-7. Now it's first down for Minnesota, 10 to go on their own 32. Wintermute, the workhorse, at right tackle for 7. An excellent block, thrown by John Williams to pave the way. Third down for the Golden Gophers, 6 to go now on their own 47. Wintermute gets a little pitch out from Kurt Wilson and roars around right end for a big 15. And now it's second down, 13 to go from the Indiana 41. Wilson finds some daylight on the left side and battles for 9. The third down situation for Minnesota, 4 to go on the Indiana 32. Kurt Wilson barks signals. You guessed it, John Wintermute has the ball, off right tackle, and the Illinois running back fights for 5. Third down now for Minnesota, 6 to go on the Indiana 23. Wilson throws to Curtis for 19 yards. He cuts back to the inside and fights his way inside the 5, all the way down to the Indiana 1. On fourth down for Minnesota, goal to goal. The Indiana 1-yard line, Wilson hits right tackle, goes into the end zone, piled up, but he's got the score. And another fine block was thrown by Charlie Sanders. Minnesota 13, Indiana 7. In the fourth period, first down for the Golden Gophers. Wilson hits that left guard for 5. Now it's third down, 7 to go from the Minnesota 24. Wilson rolls to the right, sees some daylight, does not pitch but keeps, and roars around right end on a brilliant 29-yard run before he's forced out of bounds. Second down, 7 to go from the Indiana 44. Carter takes a handoff from Wilson and hits right tackle hard for 6. First down, 10 to go on the Indiana 23. Carter hits right tackle and blasts his way through some defensive tacklers for 13 yards. Third down now for Minnesota, goal to goal on the Indiana 3. Wilson makes a little handoff, then keeps behind the blockers and dives into the end zone for a touchdown. He fumbled the ball. Indiana recovered, but his momentum had carried him into the end zone. It was a touchdown, despite the fact that Indiana was a little bit disappointed. Minnesota 19, Indiana 7. We pick up play now with first down. Minnesota 25 to go on Indiana 38-yard line. Carter at left guard fights his way for 14. Fourth down now for the Golden Gophers. 4 to go on the Indiana 17. Wilson takes a handoff. A half roll out to the right. Looks back. Hits Hubie Bryant, but Bryant fumbles the ball. It's deflected into the hands of Sanders into the end zone. Charlie takes it for the score and is mobbed by his teammates. Hubie Bryant and Jim Carter, just to name 2 of 3. Third down now for Indiana. 4 to go on the Indiana 33. A pitch out by Gonzo to Eisenbarger is fumbled and recovered by Laxo on the Indiana 23. Jessen was the man who forced that bad pitch. First down for Minnesota. 15 to go on the Indiana 28. Carter hits right in for 12 yards. Jim Carter, who had a tremendous second half against the Hoosiers of Indiana. Third down for Minnesota. Wilson hands off to Carter at right guard for another big 13 yards. And Indiana has trouble bringing down the big, burly fullback. Third down now for Minnesota. Goal to go on the Indiana 14. Wilson pitches to Wintermute at right end, and he goes for 13. Fourth down now, Minnesota. Goal to go on the Indiana 1-yard line. Wilson at right end for another touchdown for the senior quarterback. Wisconsin came to Memorial Stadium looking for a victory in the first quarter. First down for Wisconsin. First play of the game. Shumish hits off the left side and gained 3, but fumbled. And it was recovered by the Gophers' Ed Dern on the Wisconsin 29. Second down for Minnesota, 8 to go on the Wisconsin 27. Wilson is the quarterback. Hands off tackle to Jim Carter. Blasts his way for 7. Third down now for the Golden Gophers. 6 to go on the Wisconsin 25. Wilson makes a little fake and then throws to Chip Litton. Makes a fine catch before he's nailed for 11 yards. 2 very fine blocks in there by Fink and Enderle. Third down for Minnesota. 8 to go on the Wisconsin 12. Wintermute gets the ball from Wilson and circles the right side. Fights hard. Cannot go into the end zone, though, even though he picked up 9. So it's second down for Minnesota. Goal to go on the Wisconsin 2. Peterson cracks off right guard for the touchdown. First play for Dick Peterson in the 1967 season. In the third quarter, first down for Minnesota. 10 to go on the Minnesota 23. Wintermute hits that right tackle, and he picks up a hard 9. It's third down now for the Golden Gophers. 5 to go on their own 38. Wintermute once again tries the right side, and this time he blasts his way for 5. As the Gophers come out of the huddle with a 1st and 10 on their own 43, Carter gets the call, and he goes off left tackle for 7. Third down for the Golden Gophers. 2 to go on the Badger 49. Wintermute trying his favorite right side again, blasts his way, and he picks up 5. It's second down now. 7 to go for the Gophers on the Wisconsin 41. Wilson fakes to the halfback, gives back to Carter on the crossbuck, and he blasts off left guard for 6. Fourth down now for the Golden Gophers. 4 to go on the Wisconsin 25. Wilson barks the signals. Gives off to Wintermute to the short side. He puts down his head, drives very low, and picks up 5. It's second down now for Minnesota. 10 to go on the Wisconsin 20. Wilson, half roll out to the right. Finds Bryant down the right side, and it's good for 16 before Hubie is pulled down. Second down now for Minnesota. Goal to goal on the Wisconsin 1. Wilson behind Lundeen and Fink. Sneaks over for the score, and the Gophers went 77 yards in 21 plays and lead 14-6. Second down now for Wisconsin. 4 to go on the Wisconsin 39. Boyagin's pass was intercepted by Jenke on the Minnesota 42 and returned by the Otana native to the Wisconsin 33 before he's run out of bounds. Minnesota has a first down. 10 to go on the Wisconsin 33. Wilson takes the handoff, goes into the pocket, gets excellent protection, throws to the right side to the big target, Charlie Sanders. Charlie refuses to go down, but finally does. But it's good for 6 yards. First down for Minnesota. 10 to go now on the Wisconsin 20. Back to the short side. The Gophers come again against the Badgers. Wintermute running well again. Finally tackled after 7 yards. Second down, 14 to go on the Wisconsin 14. Wilson rolling out to his left, fakes the pass, then decides to keep, tucks the ball into the left side, and almost makes it, but is run out of bounds at the 1. Third down now for the Golden Gophers, 1 yard to go from the Wisconsin 1. Wilson sneaks over the left side for the touchdown. This time the Gophers went 33 yards after the interception in 8 plays, and Minnesota led 21-6. In the fourth period, first down for Wisconsin, 10 to go. On the Wisconsin 49, John Boyagin lofted a long pass to Voigt. Tommy Sako thought he had an interception, but he didn't. It was bobbled in the air, picked up by Voigt, and went into the end zone, and Wisconsin was on the board for the second time. They made the extra point, but the game ended. Minnesota 21, Wisconsin 14. A great season for the Gophers, 8-2, and a tie for the Big Ten title.